computer. There we go. We are recording. Hi, my name's Gordon Roberts. You've probably seen and heard of me in the past. And I am the Chief Marketing Officer. Is that what you call me? At Boaz. Boaz ISI, which is the company that makes the Boaz One. With me here today is Mr. Boaz himself, Boaz Al-Kayam, who everybody knows who you are anyway. Say hi, Boaz. I'm coming.
Hello.
I'm coming to you from my home office, which, as you can see, is where I keep all my guitars. It's actually a spare bedroom in my house, but a lot of guitars in here. No Boaz guitars as yet, but we'll get to that in a little while. How are you, Boaz? You were in Haifa today working on some parts, I heard.
Yeah, improving, and grabbing this great opportunity of coronavirus that give me a space to do more experiments and more improving to the Boaz One guitar. Yeah, as much as I can squeeze. Yeah, so it turned actually to be a good thing. It turned to be a good thing because there is always a place to improvement, and especially when the world is on strike, I find the time that I can do more thinking and focus on improvement.
Yeah, there's always a golden lining to every cloud. Hopefully everybody's staying safe, wearing their mask, and washing their hands, because we're going to need you in a little while. But keep going. Especially you, Boaz, and I had this conversation yesterday. I said, don't get COVID, because if something happened to you, I don't know what we would do. We'd be totally screwed. We wouldn't know where anything was. Now, like I said, I don't care if you die. No, I don't care. But the most important thing is make sure you put everything in place. Right? No, we're good. So hanging behind you, I see a bunch of the prototypes, and you actually in the past have promised me a trip through the prototype world, and we never have actually done it. And I figured, so you can do it for me now, and you can do it for everybody else. Show me where.
So it's very simple. You see the one on the very right or left, whatever direction you look. It's the wood one. That's the very, very early one, when the things was just in a concept. Mm-hmm. If someone want to see how it's disassembled and assembled, there is a short video that Morris made at the time that's showing it. Mm-hmm. Right after that is the shark, and the shark is prototype number one. Mm-hmm. That was not good one. Gilad and I was very disappointed, but that's what made me dig into the concept of electric guitar, because I realized that I don't understand some stuff, and of course that was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was really sitting with that guitar and playing around with it till I start understanding some stuff, which I brought prototype number 3, which is the clear one with the black, that one right there.
Now that's the first guitar.
And on that one already.
Yeah, I think that was the first guitar.
Exactly, that's the first one you saw. And there it already was good. So I knew there's a concept, and I find out a direction that I could say I was very happy with. But again, place for improvement. So we make that one, that blue one. And in that blue one also, I realized that I can continue to improve. And we came up with that blue one. You see the very last one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's already, this guitar, people say, wow. And I was not happy yet. Yeah. So we make that one next to it, which that's the one we went to the campaign.
Yeah.
But during the campaign,
So see, that's the one we took to the NAMM show and showed to all the people.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was the Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going, Boaz.
It was a very good guitar. We all know.
Hang on a
It
second.
was exposed during the campaign to hundreds of thousands of guitarists, guitar players. Gordon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You disappeared there for a second. Hold on a second. I'm going to switch my networks here and see if it improves. I'm not sure what's going on with my system at the moment. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, very good.
Okay, good. This is better. Yeah, so let me tell a quick story about that when we took it to the NAMM show. Actually, we took it to Nashville the first time, right? And we arrived,
Yes.
and somebody who will remain anonymous left it at, where did you, left it at the, no, left it on the bus at the airport. So we suddenly found ourselves in Nashville, and the guitar was still on the bus. And I swear, any other town in America, the guitar would have disappeared, but not in Nashville. Such an amazing place. And we called up the bus company, and this lady came on and she goes, "Yeah, we got it for you. We got it right here." And I said, "Please let me come get it right now." And she goes, "No, you don't know. No, you can't." I said, "But I got to come." He said, No, we'll just drive it over to you." And they literally took a bus and they drove the bus over and pulled up right next to us. And the guy got off and handed us the guitar. How amazing is that?
So, that's unbelievable. Yeah, that's a true story.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
We would have probably all gone to a bar in Nashville, drunk ourselves stupid, and then found him and thrown ourselves into the river there. What's that river called?
But I will throw myself into a grill that those smokers around.
Yeah.
At least that some people enjoy it.
Yeah. Exactly.
However, that guitar during the campaign was exposed to, I would say, hundreds of thousands of guitarists around the world. And very few of them came up with great ideas. And then I said, oops, I didn't think about that. And I didn't think about that. And I didn't think about that. So I'm happy with it. It sounds incredible, as we all know. But I put all those improvements and ideas into that one. And that's it. That's it.
That is.
I mean, people ask me, at one point, Boaz, you need to put a stop. That's where I put a stop. That's it. I'm happy with everything. Yes. So that guitar is the what the Becker's gonna get. Yeah.
And I'm told that I might even have one of the T1 guitars in my hands in not too many weeks. Once the T1 comes together,
you will have it. Yes, it's gonna be ready before Christmas, and probably shipped to you day after Christmas. Because if it's gonna being shipped day before Christmas, you're gonna get 2 weeks after.
Yeah, you don't want to ship it. But and so once I
don't want to ship that thing.
Yeah, once I have that, I'm going to start. First of all, I'll give you my impressions because I haven't played that guitar yet, and I'll also put it in the hands. Well, the first person I'll put it into the hands of is my guitar tech, the amazing John Thurston in Dundalk, Maryland, who I believe is the best guitar tech in America, and let him look it over. Maybe we'll videotape that. That'll be fun because the last one I gave to him, and he came up with a whole bunch of really interesting points that I really wish I'd videotaped now. Because he was taking measurements off it and going, well, you cannot get the action this low without the strings buzzing. And then he would hit them, and then he'd go, however, the strings aren't buzzing. So I don't understand. And he went on and on about, so he was just totally blown away. Anyway, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put it in the hands of a lot of different guitar players, let them play it, and then let them give us their opinions. Also, probably some backers too around the area. I had several that checked out the previous guitar that I had here, and excuse me, my hair is driving me crazy. COVID hair, and So yeah, so there we go. So let's just head in, and you're done with the
Yeah, I just want to remind you that the COVID guitar going to come to you without a pickup, so your technician need to first install pickups on the model.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that during the questions, because there's a couple of questions about that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now.
So what else? Now
So
I have some good news. I have some good news.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, this guitar have 20 molds, which is a lot, because each mold is from few $1,000s to few tens thousands of dollars. And the small molds are ready. We already got T1 of almost all the small molds. And the big molds, it's take 3 times longer. So that will take time. But right now I can already show parts that arrived for T1, and some parts are just fine. They've been inspected, and Gilad and I are very happy with the results. So for some parts, we gave a green light for printing, and for some parts they need to come back with some small improvements. So it's following the drawing details. And I'm gonna grab the phone and see how I switch the camera to the other side. Okay, I found it. Here it is. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go parts. This is the this is T1 for the headstock cover, and this is the T2. You can see it's more shiny. Don't pay attention that there is no Boaz on it. The Boaz, it's the simple that will be put it on. But right now this part is completed, and we are very happy with it. Yeah. It already have the threading for future attachment that I am not going to talk about him because Gordon, I want to have a policy and grab this great opportunity to have a policy not to talk about stuff that is futuristic before it's arrived, because things can take longer and people just get out of patience. So what I can say is that this beautiful part is already been improved. Yeah, you can see some more here.
Keep holding that up for a second. I just want to squash a rumor. Now, there is a rumor out there that looks like a middle finger being held up, and the rumor is that perhaps someone that designed it, or maybe somebody within the group, decided that this was our subtle way of saying hello to the people that told us that we would not be able to ever do this and it will never work out. Well,
correct.
Of course, we would never do anything like that. That's horrifying. We're just shocked that anybody would ever suggest that. Okay, move on.
Okay, now this is what we see here is the thumb screws, and we start with a thumb screw that was very thin. As you can see.
Explain what the thumb screw is for.
Okay, the thumb screw. If I take the guitar out, this is the guitar, and I turn it to the back. You can see the thumb screw here. Yeah, but what I find out that this thumb screw, let me put the guitar here. This thumb screw is hurting the fingers when you turn it because it's have sharp point for better positioning your fingers, but it's painful. So because thanks to the Corona, I had the time to change it to a thin one, which you need a lot of force and torque to put your fingers to turn it. So I came up with just a thicker one right here. And this one is very, very comfortable, and this is great. So even that small screw went into improvement, and now I'm happy with the results. Yeah. So it's a small thing, but if someone's gonna change the body, I don't want him to break a nail accidentally or feel that it's sharp on his fingers. So those are the screws. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is the pick holder. Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
this is great. I don't have a pick around here. By the way, let me introduce the people to the office. This is the office. Yeah. And
Mm.
if I took a picture of it outside, you will see that it's in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it's in the middle of nowhere. We had some serious headache to get a telephone line here and to get some internet connection. However, now this office is everything is in here and it's fine. So this is the peak holder, and that's also completed. It's fine. Yeah, the peak holder have this flexi and
Like a clip.
flexi thing that you can take it out in and out easy to in order to change it. Let's say somebody want to use a thicker peak, so we can file it and make it more space for a thicker peak. But for thin peak to medium to heavy, it's fine. But if you play with a stone peak or heavy metal or like a metal peak, then you might need to open it. And if you just damage it, you take it out and you get from the company another one. I don't know, I guess it's going to cost a few dollars, but that's so that's ready.
Now there is a controversy about the color and whether or not we're going to offer different colors. We will, to our backers, we'll probably not even charge you for it if you want to change the color. As soon as we aren't going to have different colors right away, but once they come in, we'll do that just because you guys are the backers. You made all this possible. Let me tell you about the thoughts behind this. We are a company and we're here to make money in order that we can continue doing what we do. So the idea is that, it's good for stuff to be upgradable, and you put the lowest grade thing on the instrument. Although, I mean, it's not quality low grade. It's just that's the color that that's the basic color. And then if you want to upgrade, you do that. But we're not going to soak our Kickstarter backers for that. And the other thing, of course, is we decided a while ago that no backer will ever pay full price for anything from Boaz ever again. So you will always be discounted, and we're going to give you a decent discount. It's not just going to be a few pennies off. It's going to be a really good discount because we really appreciate this. I mean, without you guys, we could not have done this. We would not have been able to sell the concept to anybody without having some large guitar company basically either rip off the idea or just agree to do it with our peripheral input. And the quality of the instrument would not be as great as it's going to be. Believe me, I've worked in the guitar business for the last 30 years. I know.
Correct.
So anyway, keep going, Boaz.
Okay. Now we have here another small mold. It's the strap button. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it, a small niche here. It's just a simple idea, but it's won't allow the belt to come off, the strap to come off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Right. So basically, it's a locking belt buckle, strap buckle.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a locking thing without having a locking thing.
Yeah. And it's so simple. I mean, it's hard to believe that somebody hasn't come up with something similar. Maybe they have.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is so simple that it works. It really does.
It's very simple and it's work. I have one that the leather is tiered and it just doesn't come out. It's holding it in place. You cannot do the flip over. I don't recommend it. But if you're just a normal guy who play even rough, that's going to hold. However, that's another mold that's been approved and it's ready. Yeah. When we go here to the bridge, you see that's the wheel for the bridge, and we call it the camel because that's what holds the strings. Those are for the upgrade bridges. This is the upgrade bridge, and this is the standard bridge right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those two, the gray ones, are prototypes, and that's already the real thing. Yeah, and also that is the real thing for this what I call the standard bridge. I want to say simple bridge, but it's not simple at all. There's years of experiments here, and ex- there is a lot of prototypes till we arrive to this point. This is the comb bridge, and this
Yeah,
is
and
the adjustable
yeah,
bridge.
what I'd like to say about that as well, people seem to think that we should consider that to be the cheap, crummy bridge, and that
Mhm.
everything else upgrades. That is not true at all. That bridge has certain qualities that the other bridges don't have. Each bridge is a thing into itself, and you'll see there's different sounds that 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 come from that. I mean, there's a sort of a rich mellowness that comes out of that particular bridge. Once you get into the metal style, obviously you're going to get that crisper, you know, I'm going to say twangier, but that's probably not the right word, sound out of those bridges. So in no way is that like, you know, even if you had the metal bridge and you got that, you would probably want to try that bridge out also, because it'll work better in certain situations. It's just another,
Yeah.
yeah.
So those who order the basic, this is the basic with the plastic wheels, the polycarbonate wheels. And those who want to upgrade, they can upgrade to the aluminum wheels or to the brass wheels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those who play different intonation, because it's very important that this guitar is well intonate. And if someone play in a different intonation, like let's say that God or anything, then he will need that bridge. And that bridge, it's you can move its strings and do the setup like any other guitar in the world. There's another benefit of that bridge, which is this is the same thing. This is just a prototype, and this is actually come from a mold. That this have a tray under, and this tray, it's for the purpose of doing the intonation. But if someone want to replace a piezo system, that's the place it can replace a piezo system, and the complete bridge is going to sit on it and press it equally. So you don't get, you know how piezo sometimes have one string screaming and the other string quiet. It's an issue of different pressures.
Mm-hmm.
And right here, the pressure is it will be much more equal. So I think some people can find that as a very beneficial bridge for piezo systems. So those are the bridges. I move on. Right here, it's the tuning machine holder. And this tuning machine holder, you don't see it on a guitar because it's hiding inside the headstock. But basically, it's designed with a very long sleeve compartment that will not allow the sleeve of the Graphtec, especially the Graphtec tuners, to move left and right. It's like a sleeve inside the guitar sleeve sit inside here, the channel, and it keep it in place for not only accurate tuning, but for no movements of the string sleeve, what hold the strings. Yeah,
There's no loss of energy basically there, right?
correct. And not for nothing, there is many screws here to hold that unit. And then, of course, each tuner have his own screws and knobs to hold it in place. So this part is ready, and it's a very stiff. I mean, we can say plastic, but that stuff is unbreakable. It's enriched with a lot of glass fibers, so it's very, very strong. And that's all part of the design, and it's important. Here we have some wheels that I've been experimenting, so they out. Right here, we have the springs for the body with the legs. We have the body with the legs, and there is a spring loaded inside. So we try different ways, and we find out that this is the best. But I have to admit, it's not completed yet. It's just about. So we give it another. It's going to go into T3, yeah. the thing is, it's a very simple part, so it's very quick to produce, and they send me the samples to try it. Now, right here, what we see is the silicone parts. And this guitar have like 6 silicone molds. And those are the experiment ones. And here I got a lot of samples. They are in black because the samples does not need to be colored. But of course, the product himself will be colored. So this, and those are fine. I was measuring them, I tried them. Those silicone parts are ready, and they're gonna start printing them and sending us the actual parts. Right here, it's the locking of the body to the core. And it's also a very nice piece of metal that sits in the back of the guitar. And it's allowed the inside the guitar. I will show it here again. When we take off the body, we have those two things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This one is to lock that screw, and this one is to click on the body, so you don't need to hold the body while it's attached here in order to put the screw. Just a very comfortable things to do. So you have a mushroom that go inside here from the body, and it's give it the first lock. And then you have the screw that give it the security lock. So it will not open in the middle of concert or anything like that. Right here, we have a compartment that an Allen key is inside. And also we got all the Allen keys. It's in that, those are Allen keys that if someone ordered the adjustable bridge, you're basically gonna get the Allen key, and the Allen key is magnetized here. So you don't need to fight putting it in and break your nail or just hurt yourself. You just click, and it's right there, and it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, it was important to me that it will click in with a magnet and not being pressed by force. As a guitar player, I try to keep my nails and my fingers safe. So basically, it's almost that's it. We have the frames there, and basically that's it.
The point is, we can't tell you anything about those frames because that's really what our business is all about. That's the thing that makes us different. So you've got a quick glance at them, but you'll have no idea how they work because we won't tell. And by the time you get your guitar, they'll be completely epoxied in place, so you won't be able to get anywhere near them. So, but that's the real secret.
Well,
yeah, that's
yeah.
So cool.
I am. In general, I'm not a secretive guy. I share my knowledge. But Gordon gave me a lessons and asked me to change this policy from now on if I want to continue with him. And that's okay. Yeah, I got the point.
Yeah. I'm the practical one. Boaz is the dreamer. Although I dream a lot too. Ask my wife. By the way, that was amazing. I'm just so excited just seeing all of that stuff. What you don't realize is that I know you guys are really, really excited to see these instruments and to get your guitars. You don't know how excited we are. I mean, we've been doing, Boaz has been, how long is it now? 20 years? Thinking
more from 96.
Yeah.
The wood one, that wood one there on the corner, it's from 94, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we had our first discussion about this at the Long Island Guitar Show, I think 2001, 2002. And that's
yes.
when I suggested that he make it so that you could flip in make it modular so you could flip in and out pickups. And Boaz completely misunderstood what I said and thought I said make the entire guitar modular so that you could take out the bridge and take out the stuff. So when he suddenly appeared out of nowhere, do you remember that day? You called me in the office. I was sitting in the office. You said, "Do you live in Maryland?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Have you ever heard of Montgomery Village?" And I said, "Well, I'm sitting about 3 miles away from Montgomery Village." And he goes, "Oh, good. We'll have lunch." Just out of out of nowhere. And so we had this wonderful lunch. And at the end, actually, it was with Kurt Roederer, who
Kurt Roederer, correct.
Rodimer, that's right, who is one of the greatest classical guitar players in the world. And he was asking Boaz to make these guitars for him so that he could do the well-tempered clavier, which is just ridiculous that you would even consider doing that on a classical guitar. But he has done it, and you should listen to it. It's incredible. But he wanted, I think he wanted you to make him half a dozen different guitars with different necks on them. And
yeah, you have five of my guitars. For each composition, you just order a guitar.
yeah,
It's one of those crazy ones.
yeah,
Just unbelievable.
he's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Wonderful guy,
Yeah.
really amazing guy. But so, and at one point, Boaz said, I'm sitting there, between the greatest classical guitar maker in the world and possibly the greatest classical guitar player in the world, listening to them talking guitars. I mean, for someone like me, it was one of the greatest things ever. And I'm just sitting there, like at a tennis match, going backwards and forwards, and they're talking. And then finally, and then Boaz, he said about the I think you told him you were going to swap the necks out so that you didn't have to do a different neck for each. It's too complicated. We won't go there. But at this point, Boaz said, well, and I'm going to make the fingerboard out of plastic. And I went, no, Boaz, you can't make the greatest classical guitar player's neck out of plastic. And then Boaz lectured me for 5 minutes on materials and stuff and how people didn't realize. And at the end of it, the last thing he said was, and he said, I can guarantee that if you made an electric guitar out of this material and you knew what you were doing, you could make the best sounding electric guitar on the market anywhere. And I went, yeah, right. Yeah, sure you can, but it's a plastic guitar. And but then we started talking, and we talked about, how you could swap pickups out and make it modular. And because we talked about Dan Armstrong, who's Kent Armstrong's dad. Kent is doing the pickups for us. Kent Armstrong's dad, Dan Armstrong, brought out in the late 60s guitars with Perspex bodies, not Perspex, whatever that material was, the see-through guitar that was, and they sounded great, except for the fact that they weighed a ton. So they also cost a fortune. And even at the time for a guitar at the time. So, but I mentioned about how Dan came up with this idea where you could take the pickups out and put new pickups in. And that's what I thought Boaz was going to come up with. And it was about a year later, right, where you called. We met one day in New York City. Remember that?
Yes.
We got a call from Boaz on Saturday. You see, there's a pattern emerging here. The phone rang on Saturday morning, and Boaz said, Gordon, I'm in New York. Can we have lunch? And I went, but Boaz, I'm just outside Washington, D.C. And he goes, well, it won't take you long to get here. And I went, so I said to my wife, I said, Boaz wants me to drive to New York City. And she said, well, if Boaz wants you to drive to New York City, you probably should go. So I drove up. We had lunch at some beautiful restaurant down in the village. And then at the end, you pulled out this roll of blueprints and spread them out on the table and said, here's the guitar. And I was like, what the heck? This is like, and you said, do you think we should go ahead with it? And I went, yeah, definitely. I mean, it was incredible. And then I didn't hear anything from Boaz for about maybe another year or so, maybe longer. And then one day he calls up, and again to my office, completely out of the blue, and says, I'm here at the Old Anglers Inn. Do you remember? I'm here at the Old Anglers Inn. And I said, not the one in Maryland. He goes, yeah, are you anywhere near? And I said, yeah, I'm right up the road. So I came down, we had another lovely lunch, and then we got to the car and he pulled out this guitar. and he said to me, do you have an amplifier, like in the parking lot of the restaurant? And I said, strangely enough, I never drive around because, you know, it's like in Maryland, it's really hot in the summer. You don't want to leave your amp in the back of your car. But I just happened to have an amp in the back of my car. And the other amazing coincidence is my mother-in-law lived maybe a mile and a half from that restaurant. So we drove over to my mother-in-law's house. He handed me the guitar, which was the see-through one.
Yes, see-through.
And I thought, you know, this is interesting. You know, and I plugged it in and played it. It was extraordinary. It was absolutely extraordinary. And then I thought, Gordon, you know, I'm the kind of person that is very enthusiastic about everything. So I thought, I'm not the person to make a judgment on this. So I called my friend Joe Pritchard of Pritchard Music, who used to be my assistant at Eastman Guitars when we were there. And I said, Boaz is in town, because he'd met Boaz at a show. And I said, do you want to see Boaz? And he goes, yeah, sure. I said, well, come over to my mother-in-law's house. And he said, okay. But we didn't tell him anything about the guitar. And he walked in, we handed him the guitar, and he went, what the hell is this? Because, you know, you look at it, see through, it's made of plastic. And I said, not telling you anything, just plug it in. And he laughed, and he went, ha ha, you know, and then he plugged it in, and then he sort of looked at it for a while. Then we showed him how you could switch out pickups. He went, oh, that's very cute, you know, nice. He's not a naturally cynical guy, but when you throw a plastic guitar at someone, they tend to be cynical. And then he sat down and started to play it. And he played it, then he stopped, and then he looked up and he went like, and then he sat down and played it for maybe half an hour at least without saying anything. And at the end of it, he stopped, he unplugged it, and he goes, I have to have this guitar. This guitar is incredible. And I went, really? That's what you think? And he goes, oh my God, it's just incredible. What is it? And that was probably the moment when I realized that we were actually onto something
Yes.
absolutely remarkable. And then we went from there on to this point. And here we are.
Correct.
It's going to happen. But the point here, that very long story is all about the fact that if you guys are impatient, you do not know how impatient Boaz.
Yeah, exactly.
We are so impatient. And we'll talk about delivery towards the end. We'll leave that, but and we'll get to that. But believe me, we're going as quickly as we can, but as we're going from one step to the next very carefully, which is Boaz's natural way of doing things. So we really don't have any choice there, and it will pay off. But we'll talk about that later on. So should we answer some questions?
We should answer questions. Sure, let's start.
Okay, so there's a question from Christopher Berkeley. And Christopher says, I know there are plans for a bass. Will there be plans for a 7-string or a baritone? Well, let me start here. According to Boaz's new philosophy, we do not talk about anything that's in the pipeline. So if you stopped us in the street and you were a journalist and you pushed a microphone in front of us and said, what about the Boaz bass? We would say, no comment. We have no comment, but you can guess from that what's going on.
Yeah, you can guess.
And honestly, it's going to be really cool. But anyway, we're not saying that. Now, here's the question. Will there be plans for a 7-string or a baritone? What do you think, Boaz?
Not in the soon future. Not in the soon future, because it's, again, different molds, and it's just too expensive. But if when the company will be profitable, it's for sure going to be on the table. It's for sure everything going to be on the table. Just question of budget. And at this point, nobody in the company gets salary, because if we did get salary, this project will stop a year ago. It just won't be possible. We on a shoestrings. We're really tight. It's not a joke. We're doing more than it's
We can.
people who are doing projects. They don't believe we got so far. They just don't believe we got so far. They think we are magicians. Yeah. So
It's
we're very dedicated. Yeah.
it's
Well,
amazing too that there are three of us, Gilad, Boaz, and I. None of us has taken any money out of this company at all yet. And Boaz and Gilad have actually spent a small fortune of their own money getting to this point. So, this I
correct.
had heard some people say, those guys must be getting rich. They raised $500,000. Nah, we're not getting rich. I wish we were,
Not at all.
but we're
Not
not.
at all.
So,
But I'm not here. I'm not here to cry because I'm basically very happy. I'm doing what I love and I do it the best way. And there is 1,000 people waiting for my product. Every luthier dream I achieved. So I'm in a very happy situation. I really appreciate every day when I wake up into this project, and I learn to be more careful with my expenses till this thing's going to happen, and it's very soon. Okay, next question.
Next question. Would it be possible to have different body wing shapes and colors of plastic?
At this point, we have 3 bodies. Again, a new body, it's a new mold. But I can tell you, Gordon, something that I know gonna happen. People are gonna buy the half body, which is the most economy body we serve, and they're gonna cut off the wings and have the attachment in the center. And to this attachment, you can print anything you want. So I'm sure people will start. You can attach wood body to it, and the core of the guitar will click in without any effort. So I'm sure people are going to come up with different bodies, but we, as a starting point, we start with 3 bodies, and I don't see more bodies in the soon future. Yeah,
not for a while. That was from Jay Dean, by the way. The next question is, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, Yaroslav Kowalczyk. You have to tell me how well I did. He has 2 questions. Is there a chance that Boaz in the future will make a body that looks exactly like the one on the photo? And he's meaning that semi-transparent look?
The reason I made it transparent is I need to see the inside parts with the fillers I have. And there's no way for me, I'm not going to cut the prototype. Each prototype costs around $8,000. So by making it from a clear, I could see the inside process as it appeared and follow the process inside. And for me, it was just a way to investigate the prototype. The answer is no, and it's no in the soon future, because nobody will print 1 guitar or 2 guitars. When they start injecting the plastic, you need a big number. You need a big number, and if people will show interest in a clear body in big number, then maybe yes. But at this point, the answer is just no. It's not gonna. We're not gonna play with colors at the beginning.
And that, and also the part of the cool look on that guitar is the fact that even the core part of the guitar, the bit that everything clicks on, is also see-through, and that is not possible to do using the way that we're going to be producing the guitars. So
Correct.
They look mildly good. Second question, and this is one that comes up over and over and over again, and we've discussed this over and over again. It says, has there been any thoughts on the idea of making or selling empty cassettes? Okay, first thing, before you answer that question, we do not make cassettes. We've changed that. We decided that was too 1970s, so we've decided to call them modules from now on. So if anybody says cassette again, they get They go all the way back down to the bottom of the list. No matter if you're the first person that subscribed to Kickstarter, you will be the last. No, I'm joking. That's not true. But let's all try and call them modules and get into that thing. Again, it's a branding thing. That's what I do. It's nice to have something that sounds a little bit less like, because cassettes are, they're a bit passe. Okay, have there been any thoughts on the idea of making or selling empty modules? So,
yeah, well, the answer is, Gordon, is absolutely yes. We're going to sell models to everyone who want it, because I believe in the crowd. People, there's a guy in Cyprus that interested to compare his pickups, and now he can switch them in a second and show the difference between, and somebody will come up with some new pickups or new concept, a new combination, maybe piezo, maybe Sinti, and it would be wonderful for us to follow them and maybe even give them royalties if someone does something that we decide to adapt. And this guitar, electric guitar, is mostly pickups. So it's absolutely yes. And they're also going to price, we're not going to kill on the price of those models, but it will not be worse to make them even out of a 3-dimension printer. It will be cheaper to just call us and get a pickup. Now the pickup will come, I'll show you the pickup that we're going to sell right here. Right here, there is a combination to a Stratocaster. The people who are going to buy the model, they're going to have it just close. Everything going to close. They need to open for the pickups. They need to open the cavities, whatever configuration they have. And also here, they're going to need to open the holes for the knobs, whatever combination they need. So they're going to get an empty model with a copper grounding. This copper grounding, that's also ready. That's the stuff. You see this copper grounding, it's coming right here. And when you click the model in, the grounding click to the frame and go to the strings to have grounding, so the guitar can have grounding. So yeah, answering this question, yeah, absolutely yes. People can order empty models.
Okay, I'm gonna say something here that again, my guitar tech, John Thurston, when I first suggested this to him about the Plague guitars, whether he thought that would work, he said he had the module and he was looking at it and he said, you know what, this is not going to be easy. It's going, if somebody has, he said, even someone like me that puts pickups in all the time, cutting out something like that with a coping saw or routing it out with something, because it's plastic, it's not like a piece of wood where you just push in the router and you route out the spot. You have to be careful that it doesn't melt. And he said it's not easy. So he said that probably the best thing to do would be to have a professional put it in for you if you've never done it before with the Plague guitars, or just be very, very careful. And hopefully we can have some other modules on hand for people that screw up when they're putting them in, but we won't have that many. So just bear in mind when you get your Plague guitar and you decide what pickups you want to put in there, be really careful, because it's not a simple, straightforward thing to do. And I'm sure at some point we'll have somebody come up with a video which will help us dramatically with it. But I'm just putting this out there right now. Don't just think when you get your Plague guitar, you're going to just pull out your router and route the holes and then stick the things in, because it doesn't work that well like that.
However, after you say that, if someone opened the top part, inside there is 6 lines, those lines are right under the 6 strings. So when you want to position your pickup, you don't need to guess where are they, because from inside, when you're drilling, you're going to see the lines of the strings, which going to make life very easy for whoever going to install. But I agree with Gordon. This is a professional job that you need to do it right, but you're not going to have it more simple than this. Yeah.
You know, we have these conversations all the time, Boaz and I, and he will just point something out to me that blows my mind. I had no idea that he put those lines in.
Yeah.
But that is
Yeah,
just brilliant. Totally
yes.
brilliant. So good. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that's good news for a lot of people because a lot of people were worried about that.
Yeah.
So, and we had some discussion because, basically our business after the guitars are out there will be making modules, and we had to decide whether or not we were willing to, give away the modules and let other people put it in or make them buy them from us. But, it's just, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Good business tells us that we should, but we're not going to do that. We're good. Like we said, we could get ridiculously rich or just be happy, and we're just going to be happy and keep you guys happy. I hope. And if we get ridiculously rich, we'll be happy. But okay, so this is from Brian Anderson. It says, when the original pickup survey that had to be disregarded asked what module should be next, blank was not one of the options. Okay, we just answered that question basically. But we want to get it out in front of them that it's at least as important as fully configured pickup modules. And we agree, totally, 100%. But what I want to talk about, the reason I included this question is because I just want to explain to people what happened with the original pickup surveys and the one that came after it. And we used the KickStarter. They have a little module that you can send out a survey. So we thought, well, what the hell, we'll do that. And partly the problem was originally Kickstarter only really allows you to advertise the thing itself, and you can't really put any kind of options into it. So Morris and the other guy who was in charge of the Kickstarter program at that point, they decided that the easiest way to do it would be to um, put this thing out there and then let people add a certain amount of money in for, as you all know, because you all did it. And then the feeling was that they would sort it out afterwards. And the sorting out afterwards fell to me. There is absolutely no way, except through a survey and ask people directly what they ordered and what they didn't order, which is not ideal, believe me. So, so I came up with this survey and I put it out, and turns out that I'm not sure what happened, but it was, we had to again adjust all the questions so that they worked for the Kickstarter way of doing things. And I feel that, and it was probably partly my fault, but it seemed like it was more confusing than ever. And then things just got out of hand. So we shut that down. And then I did a constant contact where I sent another survey out to everybody. But of course, by that time, everybody was completely confused because there were two surveys out there. So, and then, and also, I have to say, you guys do not read instructions very well. Not at all. Because I put things at the beginning saying, all we're interested in this survey is finding out what kind of pickups you want. And then 85% of them said, how come nobody's asking me about bridges? I want bridges. What bridge am I going to get? What is this? And that? So anyway, it was just crazy. So basically, then when I got all those surveys back, it was me, and there was there are close to 1,000 of you guys. So I had 1,000 of these surveys to go through and try and figure out which pickups go to which person, who chose this and who chose that, who added stuff in, who didn't add stuff in. And it was a total nightmare. And we did put something on there saying we would contact you if there was any problems, except if I had contacted every single one of those people, we probably wouldn't have that survey done now, because, you know, I do have a real job, strangely enough, outside of this, and I have a family, and COVID-19 is going on, and God knows what else. So so anyway, so I apologize for the confusion around all of that. I have learned a lot of lessons from it, so I will know, I think, next time we send out, the next time we send something out, it'll be probably about the bridges and the various other smaller options that you could choose from, and it will be much more clear. We'll clarify it better, and it'll be easy, and you will know what you're choosing and what you're not choosing, and hopefully there won't be so much confusion. But anyway, we did get through the pickups, and we sent them over to Kent Armstrong, who is in the process of setting us up at the factory to get the pickups created for us. And that's where we're at on that. That's good news. So so there we go. So you don't really need to say anything about that, right, Boaz? Boaz had nothing to do with the survey. He's a lucky, happy man. He didn't have to do it.
I'm very lucky, yeah.
So it's what I signed up for. Question from Jamie Ratliff. Again, this might come under the well, I'll ask the question. Jamie Ratliff says, any chance of a tremolo in the near future? I think I can, but we'll get an opportunity to add to our order before everything. Oh, if I can, will we get an opportunity to add to our order? Okay. First part of the question, any chance of a tremolo in the near future? No comment, right, Boaz?
No comment. No comment.
No. It's not going to happen. No comment. No, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. No comment.
Just no comment.
Please move along. There is nothing to see here.
No, I need to explain it again, Gordon. Designing a product, there is first the idea, then you need to bring it out, then you need to make a prototype, and at that point people see it, so they go, wow, it exists. But no, there's still a long way, and people want it, and then you need to explain why it's not there yet. So, and after you have a prototype 1, you have prototype 2, and then after you have prototype 2, you put it in the hand of some really virtuosos players to check it out and live with it for a while, so they have some conclusions and rejections and stuff that put me on the table again to work on it. So in order to get it, sometimes it's such a long way, and people are gonna wait, and you stretch them, and it's the best thing is just no comments. But everyone who know me know that I cannot stop thinking how to put more stuff on the guitar. Yeah. So,
but I have told you.
No comments. That's the answer they're going to get on anything, but there's no comments. But we have a box full of surprise.
Yeah, right. And I have several times said to you, Boaz, you need to stop thinking about this other stuff and just think about what's on the table. But
I did stop. I did stop.
No, you didn't. Come on, let's admit it.
Yeah.
No. I'm joking. And yes, you will get the opportunity to add to your order before everything ships if we have something to add. Or if you decided that you ordered 3 of the basic pickups early on before you realized there was a P90 option, so you can add a P90 hopefully if we have them in stock at that point. So yeah, and also there's one other thing. Don't worry if you've moved. We will check every single address with you before we ship anything out. So don't worry about that. There's nothing going to be shipped to your guitar won't finally turn up at your ex-girlfriend's house after you moved out. I know what you musicians are like, or ex-boyfriends for that matter. Although anyway, we won't go there. So I'm a musician myself. let's see. So Fred Yamamoto asked, how do I add to my order? I think I just explained that. Really, you will get the option right before we ship. If we have anything that you can add to your order, we will ask you and see what you want, and we'll be happy to add something in always. Jeff Smith. Let's see. Will we be able to add pickup modules yet? We already answered that. To our original Kickstarter order. For example, blah, 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 but would love to add the double P90s. Yeah, should not be a problem. If we have them on hand, you will be able to add to them. And if not, you'll be able to add pretty quick afterwards. Second question, after delivery of Kickstarter guitars, what is a projected timeline for new options? I know there are many things in the pipeline, such as the new modules, tremolo system, no comment. Gig bags, no comment. Is there a projected order of appearance? Yeah, well, the business plans is for us to be able to offer a new module perhaps once a month or at least once every 2 months afterwards. So for instance, one of the early ones, I believe, will either be an Alumitone or perhaps a Gretsch style pickup module. And I'm not going to talk prices or anything at this point because we're not there yet. But for the price of these things, which will be remarkable when you see it, you will be able to get basically a brand new guitar that sounds like a Gretsch, even though you're just putting it on the guitar you already own. It will be like getting a new Gretsch guitar. Yeah, so that will depend on whether we have money, though, because we need to get some investment into the company in order that we can have stuff on the shelf, and that's basically what I'm working on at the moment. That doesn't mean to say that we don't have any money. We have enough money at this point to do what we need to do. And the day that we finish shipping our Kickstarter and IndieGoGo guitars, we will basically be broke, but we will have no debt, and we will own all the things we need to produce the instruments. We will own all the molds, and we will have a product that is real and works. And that never happens. That never happens. So if there's any of you out there, I'm just throwing this out there because we're talking to a bunch of people. If there's anybody out there that would like to invest in the company, we're not giving any part of the company up, but we can talk about other possibilities. Please drop me an email and we can talk, because we're definitely going concern. So back to the question. Oh, did you want to say something, Boaz?
No.
Okay.
Just listen, wait.
Okay, and then he also asks what the estimated ship date for the guitar is. You're all going to have to wait till the end to find that. Basically, you're going to have to wait till it turns up on your doorstep. No, I'm joking. This is really stop laughing, Boaz. This is serious. Okay, do you have an update about the speaker body? Are you still, this is from Zoltan Andrasi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Do you have an update about the speaker body? Are you still working on that, or is it suspended for now? Shall I take care of that one, Boaz?
Yeah, answer the questions. Yeah,
that's a good question. I think that the whole idea of making a speaker body was a bit naive at the beginning, something that I was not in favor of. It seems to me now with Bluetooth technology, you can get a Bluetooth speaker and a jack to plug into it that will sound 50, 100 times better. Look at the Spark system. It's pretty amazing. You could do that in a battery operated way. Anything that you put into the body of the guitar, first of all, you're putting a very large magnet pretty close to those pickups. And you know as well as I do that you don't want to put a large magnet. So to get a decent sound, you have to have a big magnet. If you put a big magnet within 6 inches of your pickups, you've got all kinds of problems. You've got all kinds of problems with the strings and all that. and it's never going to sound much better than that mosquito that's flying around you as you sit out next to the barbecue in summer. It's just going to have that sound. And so we pretty much decided that wasn't a great idea early on. And also, we would have had to produce several more molds for that, correct, Boaz? And
Yes.
that would have cost us a lot more money. And so we...
And also, Gordon, as they can see right behind me, it's a prototype of speaker body. And right on top, there is another prototype of a speaker body. And right there on top, between the two guitars on top, there's another speaker body. And that's done by very professional people. And the results was just too poor. So I cannot let such a guitar out of my workshop with this kind of sounding. And to really top people in the market, they build those prototypes and they admit even that it just sounds like an old radio, the small radio. Just no serious company will try it. We thought you can click in and save the money for a student to buy an amplifier, but I just don't see the point. If somebody will prove to me that you can come up with a speaker body that sounds incredible, we will consider adapting it.
Yeah,
but till that point, I'm not gonna waste brain cells of trying to figure it out and fight it. I tried. You can see there are 3 prototypes that cost me a fortune, and the results are very poor. So until somebody really come up with a great concept, that's not on the list at this point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And nobody would have been happy with it, really.
Yeah.
So next question, this one's for you, definitely. Matty J asks, can you explain more about the 2 different bridge type options, the plastic and the metal, I believe? Is it easy to swap them? Well, you kind of went over this before, but do you want to take another look at it?
Yeah, sure. I'll pick up the phone 1 second. Let me click here. Okay, those are the 2 bridges. Yeah, and those are the real thing. It's the same thing, just real. Those are prototypes. That bridge, you basically, the guitar comes with it, with metal wheels or aluminum wheels or plastic wheels. Yeah, it depends if you upgrade the wheels. However, all you need to do is to switch them, is to take off the strings. You take that out and you put another one in. This is the adjustable one. Yeah. All you need to do is take it out just like that and put another one in. So it's really this, you don't need to do, it's as simple. You cannot even go wrong. Under it, there is alignment that does not, if you cannot even go wrong like that. There's only one way you can put them in. Also, the wheels, you see, there's a cavity and there is a popping thing. So you can only put them in a trained position that way. You cannot switch them accidentally. So it's like almost a moron-proof bridge in order to replace it. That's it. That's all I can say. It's very, very simple. And in addition to that, we can also gonna have a video showing how to do it. Yeah, there's no need, but in addition to that, we see the camels. Those are plastic camels, and we also have metal camels. So people can play with different concepts to see if they reach the sound they want. Yeah.
Sounds
so
good.
I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's a really interesting point, and one I'm not sure I know the answer for this one, and possibly you don't either. Tony Broadstock answers, are there any plans for a battery compartment on the Boaz one for active pickups? And my first thought was there's probably space inside the module for a 9-volt battery.
Yes.
But I'm thinking, doesn't the battery have to be a ways away so it doesn't interfere? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. I'm a non-active pickup person. I only ever own
No,
a car with
there
active
is.
pickup. So.
I answer that there is a room for battery.
Mm-hmm.
You need to squeeze it somewhere there, but you can also have a room in the back of the guitar, plenty of room, far away from the wires and the insulation, so you're not going to have humming and stuff. But you need to create kind of disconnecting female and male to order to do it. But the answer is there is a room. It's not that spacey, but there is a room. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course,
Good.
you need to be creative. Yeah. If someone really wants it and the battery is very big, he can find plenty of room on the body surface, just in the back of the guitar. There's plenty of room there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Stormy Brinkley asks, you may have responded to this question, but I hadn't seen that you did. Is there a case option for my Boaz? Now, normally we'd say no comment, but we have actually talked about this out there. So tell us whereabouts the case project is at this point.
Okay. We finished the design and we contact few manufacturers to see if they can achieve that. We find a company that can do that vacuum forming and that scales and put on the inches and all the stuff and make it nice. So the design is complete, which is a good news. But again, it's an expense that we need to see. It's not going to come with the becker's not going to have an option to buy it, but I guess they will have the option to order it. I don't know, Gordon, actually, this is a question for you. I can only say that the design is complete and we just need to see the prototype and give it a green light.
Yeah, it's true. And the point about ordering it, nowadays, I mean, my feeling is that we've gone to the Kickstarter people enough, which is you guys. I don't really feel comfortable anymore taking your money from you on credit cards and then hanging on to it for a long period of time. If we need to do that for some reason to get something done, then maybe we'll talk about that differently later on. But I think from this point, we're probably not going to come and have you order it and then wait. I think when we bring the case, it will be something that will be ready. I mean, I think you can definitely pre-order it, but I don't want you to put money out there at this point because it's really not fair. Or maybe we'll discuss it. We'll see. Maybe we can discuss that on here, because honestly, the influx of cash would be wonderful. So maybe if you want to talk about it on the Facebook page, we just don't want to take advantage of people. But
Yeah.
if you want to, and we don't even have a price on it yet. I mean, we have some idea, but we're not gonna put that out. But let's answer it this way. There is a case. It will be available, and you will be told when it's available. And the good thing about the case is it's not like something else where people get excited about it and then you tell them about it and then 3 weeks later they're no longer excited, so they don't buy it, which is a big problem in this business. Everybody's going to want a case. And how many modules can you fit in this case? 3, right?
Three.
Yeah.
You have one inside the guitar and 2 under the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
And also, you cannot put another guitar inside that case. It will not fit. The cavity follow a 1/4 inch over that shape. So that's the only thing you can put. There's a place for the strap, for the cable, two models, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's the case. Tanner Slice says, can we get some more demos? I mentioned this earlier on. As soon as I have my T1, we will get some demos done by some. I did one demo a while back, and I'm a pretty good guitar player, but I watched those
Hmm.
demos back, and it's pretty horrible. It's somebody who really knows how to do a demo rather than somebody that just wants to show off their few licks they have. So yeah, so I will have some real players get together and play and do some demos, and we'll get them up. Which moves into actually the next question, which is from Amit Golan. Am I saying that right? That sounds Israeli. I think
You
Amit.
did. You did say it correct. You did say
Yeah,
it
I
correct.
think
It's
he's
Amit Golan.
Amit Golan, who I believe is from Israel also. One of the things that Boaz said to me that I passed along to the group is that if you live in Israel, Boaz would love you to come by and pick up the guitar yourself if you want to do that when we get to that point. Not now, at some point.
Yeah.
So that way, will be actually it's a cool idea because you know that when they leave, they got everything they ordered. Because and that will because because then you can say, but what about my bridge? Oh, you have another bridge. Yes, you do. Um, so Amit Golan says, what about service center for the Boaz one? Where will the stock be located and assembled? Will there be an official website for technical support and news and parts, etc.? Let's start with the assembly. Where is it going to be assembled, Boaz?
It's going to be assembled in Israel. It's going to be assembled in Israel. It's going to be built in Israel. It's going to be quality controlled in Israel. And the rest, any technician, it's a normal guitar. There's no any avant-garde stuff on it. It's a normal guitar. It's a good guitar. I can tell people don't need to do a neck adjustment. It's a good thing. You just play it and play it and play it till you need maybe a fret job. To do a fret job, it's like any other guitar. You take off those frets by shaving them, and you put different frets. I'm sure people will have some guitar makers can contact me when time will arrive if they need some advice on how to do the job. And people always can send it back to us for service. Maybe a paid service if someone wants an extra stuff, but that's the only problem is the shipping. The service is not the problem.
Actually,
The problem is
the way I
yes.
see it and the way we actually talked about it originally, and I think this will work, is if you have a guitar and you play the hell out of it and and the frets just are not fixable in any way, basically we will sell you the guitar body, the core part of the guitar for less than it will cost you to get a regular
Fret job.
job on it. And in fact, it's going to be way less than anything. I'm not going to quote prices again, but if you're one of the Kickstarter people, you're going to get the bargain of the century. You just send that one part to us. Actually, what we would do is we would send you the new part, and we'd give you a shipping label, and then you just put the old one back into the thing and ship it back to us, and you will have basically a brand new neck, and it will be identical to the one you first had, because this
You
is a
don't need time to use to it. Correct.
true cliche
You do,
system. Everyone is exactly the same as everyone else just because of the way it's manufactured. So,
correct.
which is really, really
Correct.
cool. So, and what we intend, here's our business plan as far as distribution goes. And I want to thank a friend of mine, Noel Sheehan, who is one of the geniuses behind G7 capos, depending on what part of the world you come from. Where I come from, it's a capo. Where you come from, it's probably a capo. I was discussing with him maybe 2 years ago, maybe not that long ago, about how we should do this and how we would get dealers and all of this stuff. And I explained the whole thing to him in great detail. And Noel said, Gordon, you're a fool. And I thought, well, that's very kind. And he said, no, what you should do is you should just, since the stuff is so eminently shippable, so you should do it directly and come up with what they call what is it called? Anyway, it's a website basically. You know, if you buy a new car now, you can go online and you can build your car. You can decide it to be this color. You can want this, um, these things in it. You can get a moon window. You can get special mirrors and all this stuff, and you build it. And once you have it, you can look at it on your screen on your computer, and then you hit enter, and that car will be delivered to the local dealership. And it's basically they call it bespoke, which is basically a term that started out with tailors. You would have a tailor where you walk in, which most of us do these days, where you just walk in and find something hanging on a rack, and you try it on. You go, okay, that will do. And then you have the bespoke tailor who actually makes the thing to your specifications. And what we're looking at is a bespoke site where you will go online. Say you're a brand new customer, you've just been over to your buddy who is one of the original Kickstarter people. You play his or her guitar and you are blown away, and you have to have one. You open up your computer, you go to the page, and there you can build the guitar. You can decide on which body you want, which pickup modules you want, which bridge you want, and all of this stuff until you put it all together into one big package. You run your credit card, and the order then goes through and it pops up on a printer in our warehouse. And the first warehouse is going to be here in probably in Baltimore, and it will print out. This is for U.S. customers. There's going to be we've already got somebody set up in Europe, and perhaps somebody who will be helping us out in the UK. And then we'll be looking for more. At this point, that's enough for us, I think. But so anyway, so the order will print out. We will hand it to somebody who will go around and pick all the different parts off the shelf and put them all into one big box and then ship it out to you. And basically, you get all the parts. When you get them, you put them all together, which will take 5 minutes, right? And then your guitar is ready to play. And the genius of this is that we don't have to go out and find dealers, and so we don't have to pay the markup for the dealer, which allows us to keep the guitar at a pretty reasonable price. What I can't, if I told you now what we would have to sell this guitar at if we were selling it through a dealer, I would give away one of the biggest secrets in the retail world, which is how much markup is on every guitar. And I'm sure you can go find it elsewhere, but I'm not telling you because this is my business. But we take that out of the situation. We'd have to deal with selling to a wholesaler and who marks it up. And then that wholesaler sells it to a dealer who marks it up. And also in there as well, we don't have to do a setup, which means we don't have to employ somebody who knows how to work on frets and how to file and how to adjust a neck. These guitars need no setup at all. So that's not a problem. We can ship them. Nothing changes when you ship it. Boaz sent me this guitar, one of the prototypes from Israel, and I pulled it out of the case, and it was, and I am not joking, was perfectly in tune, and it had been through the entire shipping system from Israel to Maryland here in the USA. So so basically. What Noel said to me is he said, you need to keep this all under one roof, and then you have your own special customer base that you can service, which is you guys. And and it becomes more of a community rather than, and we don't have to go out and market to, I mean, obviously we're going to do a certain amount of marketing because we need new customers all the time. But I guarantee that every one of you that gets this guitar is going to put it in somebody else's hands within 2 or 3 days of owning the guitar. And that person is going to want one of these guitars. And you can say to him, go to the computer, put in your order. We get it the same day. We pull it off the shelf. Because everything is inspected ahead of time and nothing changes. You know, wooden parts always change, so you have to inspect them again and again and again to make. You don't have to worry about that. We just pull them off the shelf, put it in, ship it out to you, and in the United States, you will have it at the latest within 3 or 4 days with, well, say 5 days UPS shipping, probably less. And the guitar is exactly what you chose. And that will mean that you will be in touch with us at the warehouse. If something goes wrong with your guitar, you can pick up the phone and call us. And I guarantee you, we will talk to you and we'll figure out what the problem is and we'll get it fixed for you and keep it. That's the business plan at this point. Whether later on when we get established, we move towards getting dealers, I don't know. But the beauty of this is we don't have to come up with packaging or anything. So when you receive your parts from us, they're just going to come in a boring old brown box and maybe a sheet of instructions on how to put it together. But I don't even think you need the instructions. I think it would take you 5 minutes to put it together without instructions. Maybe the bridge.
5 seconds.
Yeah, it's that easy. So so that's the way we're going to do it. Which means that if you need parts, if you want to find out what the latest's going on, probably we'll send you out some kind of notification. You know, like next month we're going to do the Brian May pickups. No comment. And
you should not say that, Gordon.
No
because
comment.
People would be excited.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, I talked to Ken Armstrong, and Kent did say there is absolutely no doubt that we will be able to put something together. We may not call it the Brian May because, you know, I'm not sure how Brian feels about that. Although Kent knows Brian well, and I have friends that know Brian well, and from what I hear, he's a really cool person about stuff like that. But we don't want to upset.
I was on my way to England, but the COVID stopped it. So we was very close. But you should say no comment. You see, you open the box now, and people will go. You know what's going to happen to my WhatsApp and my Facebook now? People are going to write and ask. No comments, Gordon. It's not. You need to be patient. Yeah.
Got it. I'm the worst at this. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to do as far as that goes. So let's see. Ben O'Halloran asks, I've asked a couple of times about what the plans are for the IndieGoGo backers, but I haven't seen a reply. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I thought I replied to it, but maybe not. Is there any problems with that campaign that we should be aware of? None whatsoever. Everything, basically, we've just taken you and lumped you all in with everybody else. So you've gone down to the bottom of the Kickstarter list because you guys came on board after the Kickstarter thing ended. And we only ran it for a couple of weeks. And then Boaz and I put our heads together and said, you know, we have enough guitars to worry about at the moment. Why are we going to add another? And we could probably have added another 1,000 guitars on there. And it was time to say stop. So after about 2 weeks, we decided, and there were I don't think too many people pledged on there. I think it was under 20, so it isn't like a whole lot of people. But you are basically
we stopped the campaign. We stopped the campaign after 1,000 guitars.
Yeah. Right. That's right. Once we had the round number of 1,000 guitars, we decided enough is enough. Jamie Ratliff asked, will there be an option to add a piezo pickup or a synth pickup to the modules? Now, we already talked about the piezo or however you want, or piezo. I'm actually in the business. I sell some of the best piezo pickups in the world, the Headway pickups. See, I just stuck that in there, which are amazing. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce it, but I always say piezo. Yes, we can do that. Now the synth pickup, suddenly it makes sense to me why people would want to be able to unplug and plug modules in, because I never really understood that, because I couldn't see why in the middle of a song you might want to switch to a Les Paul from a Telecaster thing, although I guess so. But anyway, as far as the synth pickup goes, we will be able to do that. And that's something that we're looking into. It will be a separate module, but at this point we don't have, it's purely in our minds. But yes, there is a very good possibility that we could have a synth pickup at some point. And I just
Yeah.
violated the rule again, didn't I? Should have said
Yes, you did.
comment.
No comments.
You see, our rules are really, really strictly enforced here. It's me that comes up with half of the rules. Dominic Steck said, any dates and pricing information about the empty cassettes? Because Boaz One will be a great platform for pickup sound comparison, which is absolutely true. It will be. It'll be a most amazing thing. I'm sure Don Lace, when he saw it originally, he was like, oh my God, this will be, wow, we can just, make up a module and test half a dozen different pickups as we make them. And yeah, that we don't have any dates. We have no pricing information, but we have decided that there will be empty cassettes. That's a big question. That comes in at least twice a day to my mailbox. Do we get that? So, and I do believe that's the end of the questions. Although there is one last question that we have to come to, the difficult one.
Yeah.
So, when will we be delivering the KickStarter backer guitars, the Plague guitars, and when will we be up and running as a company and allow you, the customer, to pick up a guitar? So, can I say something first about this, and then I'll turn it over to you?
Go ahead.
We made several mistakes earlier on, honest mistakes based on what we were told and the way that we thought things were going, not to mention the fact that we lost 4 or maybe even 5 months because of COVID-19.
8 months. Why 4? 8 months.
Was it 8 months? Okay, 8 months for COVID-19. So if we had been on the schedule that we intended to be on, you guys would be getting your guitars right about now. But as you know, things are weird in this world at the moment. So we basically we're not going to be able to ship them by Christmas. And I went back and I said, I can't believe that I actually said that. And when I looked at the wording, it says that the earliest possible that we could foresee was that perhaps we could get it to you by Christmas. So I don't feel so bad about that anymore. That immediately became, oh, they're shipping at Christmas. So what we are going to do from now on is we are not going to make any predictions at all that we cannot 100% back up or be pretty damn sure that we'll be able to stick to this. So really at this point, until we get to the T3 stage, and I hope everyone's familiar with T1 is where we're at the moment, where we get the parts, they're checked, anything that needs to be improved is improved, and then it goes back, and then they send them back again, and Boaz checks them, and then he decides they're still not good enough, and then they go back, and then when they come back, he says, yes, this is perfect, and signs off on it. That's the T1. Once everything there has been signed off, we go to T2, which is when they actually make the molds, or they fix the molds. All the molds are fixed with all the things that Boaz wanted improved on. And T2, they make the guitars, and those are this is usually at this stage, if you were making like plastic flatware or whatever, you would try these out, make sure they work, and then throw them all away, because they're just, nobody's going to want gray knives and forks with a matte finish on it. But we realized early on that those are going to be really cool guitars. So those will be the Plague guitars. So then those will be shipped out, those will be produced, and Boaz will use those T2 parts to set up the production line and make sure everything works and get it going. and you're pretty confident that it's going to work. It's going to be pretty straightforward, aren't you, at this point? Oh, but you can't say at this point. But it should be pretty.
No.
And so then once Boaz has nailed down the production process, then the rest of those guitars will be produced, and we'll ship them out to you. And those will be the played guitars, but they will not come with pickups, remember. And then as soon as Boaz is satisfied that the T2 is a viable product, that's the time when he will call the suppliers at the mold factory and say, I want X number of each part made. And then they will say to him, we will deliver them to you on blah, blah, blah date. And that's the point where we will be able to say pretty solidly that we know when you're going to get your guitar. And and the whole point of this long screed here is that we're not going to say anything anymore until we get to that point. But we are getting there, and the progress is happening. But as you know, around us right now, there is a second wave of COVID coming in. From what I can tell, the manufacturers in China are not being nearly as badly affected by it at this point. But who can predict? We don't know. So,
but not all the parts are made in China. Some parts made in Israel. So we still affected when they close factories. We still affected. But there is a good news. The good news is that before Christmas, I get the last parts of these guitars for T1. What people need to know, I need to assemble a factory, an assembled production line, assembling line, without having the parts in my hand. So I need only to imagine how it's going to work. I cannot practice it because I don't have the parts. So it's a very confusing situation. Normally, when I build a guitar or when I set up a line or help factories set up their lines, you can have stuff to mess up and try. Here, I don't have that privilege. I need to set it up in my mind. I need to get the tools, which I already did. I need to get jigs and fixtures, which I already do. But I don't know if there is a mistake. I need to go back and start making it again. And that's time consuming. So the good news is before Christmas, I have all the parts for T1. Then I need to check it out. I need to create an assembling line. And till that's not going to happen, we cannot come up with a date. If I give a date now, I will look stupid, because we already did according to what people told us, people in the industry. They said the parts will be ready on X, Y, Z, and that did not happen. So the reason I say before Christmas, because now they guarantee it in written. They write down that they guarantee that timing because of pressure, but this is only for T1. After T1, there is T2. And if the parts are not perfect, it will be T3. And if the parts are not perfect, it will be T4. We hope not, but the guitar needs to be perfect. Otherwise, why we did all of that? It's why?
Almost everybody in the business that you've talked to and I've talked to say that usually T2 is where it's good. So
T2, but I will not guarantee it. You're right.
There's no way.
Yeah, we hope the T2 will be that's enough, but how can I guarantee it? I'm not a prophet. So just hold on. There's nobody in the world looking to complete this guitar more than Gordon, Gilad, and I. There's nobody. I'm dealing with it from '93. Can you imagine, guys? I'm the first one who want to see these piles of guitars and see the first container go to Maryland so Gordon can deliver it. Yeah, nobody waiting for it more. And I know you guys waiting for it, but this is the policy is to be transparent. the policy is that you guys just gonna know as things happened without any excuses and cover up. Just clear and simple. And this is at this point the truth. You're gonna see the first parts before Christmas, but you're gonna get the answer when we know and not when we're guessing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So there's two policies: no guessing, and also no promises on different future projects before they're ready. You are only going to say no comments. Yeah.
I'm going to write that down, put it on the wall here.
Yeah, put it on your phone. Put it on the camera.
So the other thing I want to point out as well is we're new to the plastics world. We know nothing about plastic. Well, I mean, Boaz knows a lot about plastics now.
Now I do.
Yeah. But we're completely new to it. But I want to stress the point that neither of us are new to the guitar world. Boaz, you did a lot of work on the Fender factory in Mexico, didn't you?
Yes.
And
yes.
So he knows.
I was a supervisor.
Yeah, he knows all about mass production of guitars. I ran the Eastman Guitar Company for 8-9 years. I've been running other guitar companies since. We're not naive about that part of the thing. The one thing that we just don't know about is the plastic part, and that's what we're learning. Previously, and I think we would have been pretty accurate if it wasn't for COVID-19. So that's going to be our excuse from now on, COVID-19. But it's true.
No, but it's no longer an excuse because most places to continue working, and it's actually working out to our benefit.
It is,
because there's a lot of canceling, and people cancel projects, and now they're looking for jobs, and it's working for us. There is some good things in it, and also where we could not even think about proceed with this project, I work on improving. So I only think there's only good stuff came up, and that's what we know. What we don't know at this point. After T1, we will deliver. We will say, hey guys, we have T1 here, and I'm start assembling it, and I'll update you as it goes. Yeah.
And when the T1 comes here, I promise you, I will live stream my opening up of the T1, and I will have somebody here who knows how to play it really well. And that will be fun. That will be maybe a couple of weeks after Christmas. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Again, I'm giving you times. It's, you get it. You get it. So I think we're done. Can you think of anything else we should be talking about?
No, I think it's been, I don't know, what, 2 hours here? How long is it already?
Who knows? What time is it? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been close to it.
Maybe you should do it in 2 parts, because how patient people to watch it.
Well, since we didn't answer the big question till the end, they'll watch it. I guarantee you. But remember, we're on Facebook. That's a good place to get to us. I know a lot of you people on Kickstarter are not on Facebook. I'm going to try and update Kickstarter's backers at least once a month, and sometimes more than that. The Facebook page, even if you don't use Facebook for anything else, you might find it pretty useful, because we're forever putting little things up that we come across that are interesting. It's really a fantastic page as far as I'm concerned. I think it's really interesting. We have a lot of very interesting people on there, and it's been a pretty intelligent conversation, which is unusual for the internet. I'll tell you a quick story though, and I'm not going to mention who it was. Speaking of us being professionals in the business, there was a something that was written out there online about Boaz One, the guitar, and the person that wrote it said that we were that it was crazy and that we're a bunch of amateurs, and that there's no way that this could ever happen, and that we were just basically naive, and the money was badly spent from the Kickstarter people and all that. So I read it, and I happened, right, there we go. This is a very nice person. And you know what? 5 years ago, if I wasn't involved with Boaz, I might well have written the same article, to be honest. But so anyway, they so this thing was out there, and when I got to the bottom, I saw who'd written it. So the next day, I called him up. I said, "Hi, it's Gordon." He goes, "Oh, Gordon, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm working with Boaz, creating the Boaz guitar." And there was a long pause, and he went, "Really? It's you?" And I said, "Yeah, and it's Boaz." And he ran the Fender thing, and his he's like, "Oh God, yeah, now I know who you're talking about." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're not a bunch of amateurs here." And he apologized profusely, and the article disappeared like within half an hour. So one of those things. And
You know,
we will.
when you have a good idea,
Hmm.
I tell you when you have a good idea, when all of those people who went against that saying, I always was for this idea and I always liked this idea and I always believed in this idea. That's when you have a good idea. Yeah. You have no idea, Gordon, how many people just said, hey, it's not possible. Plastic doesn't sound good. It's you guys dreaming. But I hear now people who was negative about it saying, Boaz, I knew you could do it. I knew it's going to happen. So that's when you know you have a good idea.
Right. I got a
Yeah.
call from somebody after the Summer NAMM show who everybody would recognize the name. I'm not going to say who it is because it's not my place to say that. But just trust me, one of the people that knows more about guitars than just about anybody else in the world. And he stopped by and he played the guitar for a while. And then he said, Gordon, I'll call you later on this. And I said, okay. So he called me back. And the first thing he said to me is, Gordon, you do realize that everybody's going to hate you. And I said, why would everybody hate me? And he goes, because you're going to prove what we've all known all along, which is basically that the wood really doesn't make that much difference on an electric guitar. And I said, well, yeah, I suppose. And he said, yeah, whole companies have made their business based on that. But as Boaz will tell you, the most important thing with an electric guitar is to create a situation where no energy is lost at all from the thing. And the reason that the 59 Les Pauls are so great, that's mine behind, by the way, that's my 58 Les Paul. I wish. 58. But the reason that those were so great is because they had some mahogany that was so incredibly dense that it literally absorbed zero energy into it, which allowed the strings to do what they have to do. And we had somebody we have to finish this real soon, but I'll finish with this last quick anecdote. We were in Nashville and somebody else who's very famous said that up until he played the Boaz guitar, he'd never had a guitar that sounded like his 59 Les Paul Sunburst. And he said, don't tell anybody I said that, so I won't tell him that I won't say who it was. Because I might want to sell it one day. He said, but he said, this is the first guitar that has had that thing that I've never really been able to put my finger on, but everybody that plays the guitar recognizes it as soon as they pick it up. People say that guitar's not worth what it's worth, the 59, then you put it in their hands and they play it and they go, oh yeah, I get it now. There's something really special. He said that the Boaz has that too. And, I have no right sitting here making that claim at all, unless I'm in full agreement of what he's saying. And this guitar, the one that I played that Boaz tore back out of my hands and insisted I send back to him, and I'll never forgive him for it. It's honestly, it's one of the great, James Burton said it might be the best Telecaster he ever played. Now think about that, Mr. James Burton, Elvis.
Please tell people,
Wrecking
those
Crew.
who don't know, tell who he played for 25 years.
25 years for Elvis Presley, but even more importantly, he played on the Wrecking Crew in California one of the top. He's played on so many records you wouldn't believe, and he's known as the person who basically invented the Telecaster sound, the way that it's played. He was the person that took banjo strings back in 1962, maybe earlier than that, and put them, no, it was the late 50s, put them on his Telecaster so he could bend it and get those bends that we take for granted now. But, you know, they were using like 14s on them in those days, and you couldn't bend anything. And he did that and created that whole thing. And basically, Leo Fender and he were about as close as you could possibly be. After he'd finished playing the guitar, he turned to me and he said, "This might be the best Tele I've ever played. It has everything." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Give it to me." And I can't give it to you. I said, "It's not mine. It's the prototype." And he said, "Okay, I want to have the first one that comes off." And I said, "No, James, you can't have the first one that comes off." And he says, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm getting it." I said, "Maybe you can have the second one." And he laughed. And he said, "You know what? Leo Fender said the same thing to me about those Paisley Telecasters."
He's a fine gentleman,
Yeah.
James Watson.
He's
a
incredible.
fine gentleman.
He's a lovely man, but he's not a person, he's not someone that will say something like that unless he really believes it. And it is that good. So stay tuned and stay there, because you will have a guitar. Not only will it be great, but I think it'll be collectible too, but who knows? We'll see about that. So we better go, Boaz. We've got lives. We have things to do. You're pretty late for you.
Gordon was good talking to you and revealing it, and I hope people get it's good. It's good 2 hours to those who really want to know where we're standing. We reveal everything possible, and we should do it every 2 months.
Yeah, I think we will. I think we will.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this a lot. Of course, Boaz and I do this all day anyway, so, and it's not a bad way to make a living, although we're not making a living at the moment. But you know, maybe one day. So cool. Okay, love you, Boaz. I'll see you soon, and take care.
Okay, bye now.
Wash your hands and wear your mask.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.